Hi, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today's video is talking about quite possibly one of my favorite toys from this year. Let's get into it. Okay, so wasting no time, this is the DJI Neo. This is quite possibly the best value drone that I have ever received or ever used in my life. Now, if I'm brutally honest, I haven't used that many drones. I've used cheaper ones, but I decided to go for the base model of the DJI drone because I know that they do some amazing drones. I love aerial photography, and the value proposition of this suddenly made it much more appealing for the masses. And I'm a total novice, total beginner, but my experience hasn't been perfect. And let me explain why. This drone actually broke, not this one actually, the one I had prior to this actually broke. Now, I have published a video on my experience of using this in very cold temperatures whilst on holiday in Lithuania. You'll see a link to that video up here if you want to see my first experiences for using it for vlogging actually. But this drone actually broke when I was using it when I got back. So I hadn't been using it for about a month I hadn't used it. I got back from Lithuania, had no problems whatsoever, was testing it out in my local area, and then I found out that actually the gimbal, which is where the camera is sat, had ceased to function. So basically I linked it with my phone. The phone gave me a warning message and it said that there was something wrong with the gimbal, and I did a recalibration. There's a number of things that it can do in order to try and test itself. But it repeatedly said, contact customer services. So having tested it, it had turned out that there was something wrong with the gimbal. And so the gimbal is where the camera is sat, like I say. On the DJI Neo, it only looks vertically and horizontal and up and down. So it only goes in one axis. So obviously it's only looking down and it's looking up and straight ahead. It can't turn laterally like a lot of the other more advanced drones can. But for this, it absolutely works perfectly for me. For control, learning how to use it and so on is absolutely fundamental. But if that function doesn't work, then your drone is effectively useless because it can't see around itself, it can't track you, it can't record, so it basically ceases to function. So I will explain to you exactly what happened when we did the return. And the good part is, of course, that I got a brand new drone. So that is the result of what happened. But actually I have to give credit to DJI because the way they dealt with it was very, very good. Now, just to talk a little bit more about what I purchased, I actually purchased something called the Fly More Pack. So the Fly More Pack gives you the remote control and it gives you an additional 3 battery pack. I would say if you're going to buy a drone, buy it with the Fly More Pack, because when you buy the basic drone with just 1 battery, and if it doesn't come with a remote bundled in, using this device from your mobile phone alone definitely has some functionality, and it definitely has flight tracking. Again, see my previous video because it can do person tracking. So there's things you can absolutely do just from controlling the drone, which is super duper clever. But if you want to take it to that next level and be able to make the drone fly much further away, you are definitely going to need the remote, because if you have just the phone and it's connected with that, the furthest distance it's going to go is about 10 meters. So it's not going to be able to go very far away from you. You can't send it up very, very high or anything like that. But if you have the remote, you put your phone inside the cradle here, connect it to the remote, suddenly you've got a lot more versatility, and then it becomes a real drone whereby you can send it. In this case, I can send this device about 3 kilometers away and a maximum height of 200 meters. And I say 3 kilometers because you have to factor in how much one battery or how long one battery will last before you then have to bring it back. Now, what is super cool about this, and is absolutely brilliant, is that the drone will not go so far that it cannot come back. It knows how much battery life it has, and therefore it knows that when the battery life is at a certain level, it's going to activate what's called return to home, or RTH, You can see an actual button there on the actual remote where you can program your return to home, basically wherever this device is effectively, where the remote is, and it will fly back to the last GPS location recorded as return to home. And you can see that happening. It'll give you a warning beep through the phone and so on and so forth. So if you fly it away and the battery drains, it will fly back with enough battery to get back. If you are confident about how much battery is left and there's not too much wind, then you can cancel that return home, and you can do it yourself, obviously. As I've been using this, I've learned more and more about certain features of using the remote. And if you want more information about that, I can make a separate video about how to use this, because there are a lot of things to it and it is absolutely brilliant. And I would highly recommend this device over any other mini drone in order to learn how to fly them, because here you can actually have the versatility of flying it without a remote, flying it with your mobile phone, flying it with a controller, and you can even fly it with FPV, which is first-person view goggles as well. So you've got all of those versatilities with just one drone. Not all drones do that, and so if you want to go all the way from very, very basic to pretty intermediate advanced, you can do that with this one drone. And so value for money proposition is absolutely awesome. I bought this case as well to carry it all around in. This doesn't come with bundled in, but of course you can buy it all. Now, of course, links to all of this will be in the description below, because I would highly recommend that you get this as a gift. This is such a good toy. It's absolutely brilliant. But my experience with DJI, in case you're interested, was that when you purchase this, you actually can buy an additional insurance, which is a flyaway insurance. And what that is, it's not that expensive. It was 50 euros for 2 years. And if, for example, this gets blown away or it loses GPS tracking or you lose it altogether, you can get this insurance whereby you can then buy or replace this with another device. Now, in this case, because this was a warranty issue, I actually had this device for less than 3 months, I think, when this error occurred. And so it was well and truly inside its warranty. I contacted DJI via the account that you set up with DJI. They immediately responded with asking me what was wrong with it. They then set up a ticket, which then, having submitted what was wrong with it, because they can read what's wrong with it, they said, yes, we're going to need to see this. So they sent me a label. I boxed it up into its original packaging, put everything together, put it in a parcel and shipped it off to them. That took 1 week to get back to their center. They then looked at it. It took them 1 day to figure out that it was definitely a faulty gimbal, and therefore it needed to be replaced. They basically replaced the entire drone. So they got rid of that one, sent me back a brand new one, put it back with my original parts, and then shipped it back. And that took another week. So in total, we're talking about just over 2 weeks for everything to be done. And in my mind, that's pretty good. That was pretty good. Communication was very good throughout. The delivery was very communicative because they obviously pay good value for, in this case, DHL, for it to be delivered to me quite quickly. But the whole thing took around 2 weeks. So even though the device broke sooner than I would have expected it to, and it wasn't down to anything I did, I hadn't dropped it, I was very, very careful. I still have the shield, which you can see here. It comes with this shield. Having used it the first few times, I even forgot to take this off. But this is a camera shield that you'll put on every single time you repackage it so that it protects the camera. So I've been very, very careful with it. But it was definitely a warranty problem, but they resolved it very, very quickly. So kudos and credit to DJI for doing that, because it really was replaced very, very quickly without any issues whatsoever. So I would highly recommend it indeed, but I would also recommend that you do go with the Fly More package in order to get the remote, which gives you a lot more versatility. You're going to learn a lot faster and you'll get additional batteries. So each one of these batteries as well, just to let you know, it's a charging pack. So obviously it's USB Type-C. You just plug it in. You can switch on the power button there and you get these 4 lights to indicate how much juice is in each one. When you're charging up, of course, they're going to flash until they're full. To recharge all of these takes less than 1 hour. If they were all dead, it would take less than 1 hour to fully charge them. So that's pretty quick. Really, really handy. In low wind, good weather, you are going to get maybe about 20 minutes, 23 minutes of flight time. They advertise 30 minutes. There's no way you're going to get 30 minutes. If there is wind, because this device is super clever, it will counteract and balance out the wind. And I was in Portugal recently on holiday, and I took this device, I couldn't resist it, and it was absolutely brilliant. Some of the footage I got is just so beautiful and so incredible. And I actually think that the replaced drone has a better camera. The camera actually functions for some reason better and clearer on the replaced device than it did on the original one. So I don't know if that was an old batch or something like that, but either way, I've been so pleased with what this device can do, because the imagery that I've got, having been on holiday and being able to use it slightly more risky places, was absolutely brilliant. Now, they do recommend, just as a caveat, not to fly this over water. I did, and I had zero problems. The views, as you'll see, were absolutely incredible. I would highly recommend that you get one of these for recording really, really nicely your family experiences. The only caveat that I would say that is a disadvantage for this device is that because it's so small, it is noisy. So the fan noise on this is very high pitched, and there are lots of videos showing how high pitched that is. What's clever is if you are recording your voice through the phone because you're doing vlogging, it will eliminate that aerial sound. So again, I refer to my other video where I talk about how it's eliminating the fan noise from the propellers in order to record my voice. But this device is a little bit noisy, so therefore it can draw a little bit of attention to you. But because it's under 240 grams, it is considered a toy, and it therefore doesn't have to be legally registered. It also has a height maximum, as I mentioned already, of 200 meters, so you cannot send it any higher than that, so you won't be getting into any low flying issues there as well. You do just have to be aware of your surroundings, and the DJI app does include no fly zone warnings, as well as where you can fly as well. So overall, really impressed with this device. If you want more videos like this, please do let me know, because I know that there is definitely a community of DJI lovers who are absolutely committed to these devices. And I cannot stress just how good a value this is, because the prop guards as well will protect it, and it is a very tough device to break. You will probably crash it more than once or twice, but because of the prop guards, because they're so small, it just is so brilliantly well protected and well designed, and they are very easily replaceable, the props that is, if you have to. You even get spares in the box when you buy it. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions, please put a comment below. Otherwise, I'll see you very, very soon in my next one. Bye-bye for now.